Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rupp Report. I'm your host, Tyler Russell, joined by co-host Israel Schill. It's Thanksgiving break. We're college students again. That's why we're home. So we're going to be doing it kind of like the Louisville recap that we did when we taking it to Zoom. Got to do what you got to do.
Gotta do
So
what you gotta do, man.
I wasn't in Lexington. I don't know if you were for Kentucky's win over Tennessee Tech. Were
Yeah,
you
I
there?
was there. I was
You
there
were
for
there.
that one. Yes.
Yes. So 50-point win,
Yeah.
biggest win of the season for UK, 104 to 54 in the arena. Israel, what did you see?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to really point out, specific things that I saw that was like, wow, this is stellar because obviously it's Tennessee Tech, you know what I mean? You can't look at them and be like, wow, this is a matchup that we can take a lot away from. Saying that, it's a good bounce back win, you know what I mean? Like they looked good. They looked much more put together than they had been previously. So 104 to 54. I think they'll take it. I think, gladly I'll take it. You know what I mean? A win is a win is a win when you're coming off that Michigan State loss.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that after the first 10 minutes, UK looked like after take away the first 10 minutes of the game, I'd
Yeah,
considered a bounce back win. And I even tweeted this out, man. They cannot keep rolling with these slow starts.
I
I mean,
know.
every single game so far, they haven't come
It's
out playing
bad.
that.
And I
And
wanted my excuse for that wanted to be like, oh, well, John Pelfrey knows this, UK, they're all coming back together, Coach Pope, like they know each other, blah, blah, blah. But it's like at the end of the day,
inexcusable.
it's inexcusable. It does not matter. The fact that they were losing like by two or three at a few minutes into the game, like in a few, after 10 points, like we were deeper enough into the game where you're supposed to be up here and you're way down here. So hopefully that doesn't really come back to reflect on more game. Obviously, they don't have a lot of time to keep messing around and trying to figure things out because you got North Carolina on Tuesday. So you kind of you're out of that stage where you're like, all right, this is how we think we can play, this is how we should play, and this is what we need to do to get to that point. Because now you're at that point, and I know we're going to break into this pretty heavily, but the next 5, 6 games for Kentucky is unreal.
Yeah, and to your point again, like we were talking about the slow starts, man. I mean, 8 points in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Very lucky that that happened against a team
yeah,
like Tennessee Tech like we've been saying, that cannot keep happening. It's 25 to 25 with 7 minutes left in the first half. So it's not even
yeah,
like it was like a 5-0 start for Tennessee Tech. That tends to happen in some games where, they go down like 5-0 or like 10-8. Like that. That's so
yeah,
different from this. I mean, 25 to 25, that's 50 total points in the game, and you're splitting it with Tennessee Tech. That is, like
yeah.
you said, inexcusable. But like I also said, the first 10 minutes, take that away. UK did go into the break up 43 to 28.
Yeah, they
They
turned it
did really
around
turn
pretty
it on.
quickly.
Yeah.
I'm sure coach said something to them like, wake the hell up, but
Yeah.
they came out of that timeout like bam, flip the switch, and then all of a sudden it's a 25 point, 30-point game, and it's like, where did that, like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, no, so they ended up winning by 50, and they were shooting total 59.1%, 39 for 66 from the field. And one thing that I am very excited about was that Kentucky finished 15 for 30 from three. I mean,
Yeah,
50% shooting from three again, Tennessee Tech, but that's something that hasn't
yeah,
really, in the past, it's been coming in from BYU. Mark Pope's team's fast transition, likes to shoot a ton of threes, but this team isn't built like that. I mean, they don't
yeah,
really have, except for, I guess you could argue, Cam Williams, Trent Noah, Colin Chandler are their big 3-point shooters. But
yeah.
together, collectively shooting 15 for 30 from three is that I'm okay with that.
No, I'm like ecstatic with that because honestly, the way that they were shooting to start the year, it almost felt like we came into the season expecting to have, like you said, a few shooters who were dedicated to be shooters. And when after I think it was 3 games in, Cam Williams hadn't hit a three yet, I was
Yeah.
getting a little worried. You know what I mean? I was like, this isn't what you want from the guy that you brought in to literally just shoot threes and play good defense. You know what I mean? So to have a guy who you want to be 3 and D, it come in, looks a little different, you know what I mean? But to be able to figure it out and get over the hump, and now he looks a lot better. The team's shooting much better. Like you said, 15 for 30. That is chef's kiss, beautiful. That's like what Mark Pope, I'm sure, wants every night from his squad. Because the first few games was like, ooh, maybe this team's not going to be as good as shooting as we all thought they would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 15 for 30 any day of the week
Oh yeah.
against honestly any team. 50% shooting is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And also to the point of stuff that looks better, 4 out of 5 UK players and 4 out of 5 UK starters had double-digit points. And then, that's also massive because a big knock on Kentucky. Again, what's our opinion? But from
Yeah.
a bunch of people, it's
Yeah.
that, UK has not been playing team basketball and they haven't
hmm
really done anything to prove that they are a team, that they move the ball. They don't really, they haven't passed it around. They haven't been getting open looks, and they've kind of just been in a funk to start with that. So 4 out of 5 of the starters getting double digits, and then, Ortega, Denzel, and Trent Noah all together scored team high 16 points, game high 16 points. And to me, that's massive because you can't just have one guy every night. That's
Yeah.
not how you're going to win the SEC, and that's not how you're going to get, where UK is looking to go in the NCAA tournament.
Totally. And one last thing that I just wanted to touch on about the Tennessee Tech game that I feel like hasn't changed really since the beginning of the year is I do feel like the Cats are a little bit, lackadaisical with passing and with the ball. A lot of turnovers, like
Yes. Yeah.
more turnovers than there should be against the teams that they're playing. You know what I mean? And so only 10 turnovers against, well, I guess only shouldn't even be how I phrase that. It should be 10 turnovers against Tennessee Tech. It shouldn't have been 10. Granted, it could have been way more. You know what I mean? Like with the
Yeah.
way that they started the game, it could have been way more. But the turnovers is something that I just think that they need to capitalize on as they, work into this non-con rest of their non-con schedule because you can't turn the ball. When you saw it against Michigan State and Louisville, you can't turn the ball over a bunch and expect to be able to come back and match their points. You know what I mean? Because their second chance opportunities, especially in the Michigan State game, is what totally killed Kentucky, totally killed their chances of even like thinking about coming back in that game.
Yeah, and a lot of it stems from stuff that we've been going over the past couple of episodes, what's going on in the locker room, team chemistry. And a lot of it also stems from Mark Pope's quotes a couple games ago about the team not being where he wants to be.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was more, in the locker room and on the court, clearly. But, a lot of turnovers stems from bad chemistry and not being on the same page ultimately, and a lot of individual basketball, which is something that Kentucky's trying to steer away from, or
yeah,
at least should be trying to steer away from. And
totally.
they do need to clean that up heading into December, which leads into our next point. Kentucky has 6 December games, 4 in which are against ranked opponents. Now, I will say they are ranked opponents. They are not top 10, top 5 ranked opponents. I mean, next up, number 16 UNC. After that, number 12 Gonzaga, number 25 Indiana, and also they also have mixed it up. St. John's, which for some reason I didn't have it jotted down, but what are they? 12, I believe, in the
Yes,
ranking.
something like that.
So St. John's is going to be the closest they play to a top 10 team. They're number 14, which, has a storyline itself with Patino and Pope
Yeah.
reuniting. But I mean, 2 out of the 4 are in Rupp Arena. To me, those have to be wins. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
number 16 UNC, number 25 Indiana. It's not like they're playing, like I said, top 10 teams where these teams are coming into town and it's just like everyone's like scared or like worried about what's going to happen. These are very winnable games. And to me, I mean, let's ask this, how many wins out of those 4 games would make you satisfied with the results?
I think it's tough because part of me wants to say, 2 wins and you're happy. You know what I mean? It's like it's you're comfortable. It's good enough, but good enough is the key words of that is you don't know. I don't know if you want to just be good enough. Like I
It's
think
Kentucky. You
I
can't be just good.
exactly. I
Can't be
think they
average.
need to get 3 of them. You know what I mean? I think they
Yeah.
need to get 3 of them to really be like we're back and to make up for the Michigan State loss, the Louisville loss. You need to give the fan base something that's going to be like, all right, we're fine. We feel good about the team now. Everything we said at the beginning of the year about this and that and chemistry issues and this guy's cheating on this girlfriend or whatever, you know what I mean? Like all that can be thrown to the curb and fans will be able to recoup and just be back in with being a normal Kentucky basketball fan again. But I think they have to win 3 of those games.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, this December schedule is, in my opinion, going to make or break Kentucky
Oh
season.
yeah.
With the fan base that they have, obviously, Big Blue Nation does not take anything lightly.
Yeah.
And if Kentucky loses 3 of these games, they go 0 for 4, 1 for 3. you could even argue 2 for 4, but if they even split, man, I mean, it's going to cause a
Yeah.
ton of, which I was just going to say it's going to cause a ton of overreaction, but would it even be overreacting at that point?
Yeah, it's tough to call it an overreaction because, like, I will say what we were doing with the Michigan State loss and the Louisville loss, like, you could call that overreaction. We're
Yeah.
buttering it up a little bit, whatever. But these ones are serious because
Yeah.
you're deep into it now. You know what I mean? You're about to be 10 plus games into the season. You are at a point where this team should be knowing each other. They should know how each other plays. They should be able to complement each other's play styles very well. And so the fact that we're only starting to slowly see that now is a little concerning. But like you said, UK fans, they're nut jobs. So they're going to have something to say regardless of the scenario. Saying that, UNC is, I think, the most winnable for what their ranking is at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
UNC just like low key got boat raced by Michigan State. Obviously, the score doesn't say it, but that game wasn't really close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Gonzaga also just got boat raced. So it's like two teams that you look at, and it's like, if you can't win one of these, it's a bad look. You're in a bad spot.
Yeah, and I think honestly, us even talking about being worried about them getting to at least 2 wins is kind of a reflection of what we talked about in the past of the start of the season.
Yeah.
If you would have told me before the season started that before we headed into this December schedule that I was worried about them playing good basketball and competitive basketball
Yeah.
and winnable basketball against two or against any of these teams, I would have told you you're crazy.
No,
But
literally.
that's just the reality, and that's just where
Yeah.
we're at. And like I said, I'd be okay with 2 to 3 wins. Um, and Gonzaga's in Nashville. I
Yeah.
mean, they just got smoked by
Neutral. It's like a
Michigan.
neutral location. You know,
Yeah, that no, no
The Cats
Gonzaga
fans
fans.
are gonna fill it up to the
Yeah,
brim.
yeah. And I mean, Gonzaga obviously in Washington State, like, and it's a weekend, but realistically, after they just got hosed by Michigan, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see how many. I don't know much about their fan base. I know it's a
Yeah.
very small school in a very isolated state, but I don't know how well they travel. And I just think it's going to be all Kentucky fans in that one. And I think that Kentucky has no excuse to not show up and play their best basketball.
No, I could not agree more. It's like, especially after seeing the results of their last few games, obviously players aren't looking at their scores of the other games and saying, "Oh man, look at this. We lost to them by this much and they lost to them by this much. We're going to match up well." Obviously, that's not how they're looking at it, but we're going to look at it that way because I'm looking at UNC, who, yeah, they're 6-1 and they had a good win over Kansas, but like that's a 74-58 loss at Michigan State. Kentucky didn't lose by that much more. I think it's going to be a really competitive game. Obviously, there's a little bit with Caleb Williams here and there that he was in UK was top three of when he was getting recruited, and he's one of the best basketball players in the country right now. He's just been unreal to start the year. So I think that UNC game is going to be electric regardless. It's 9:30 at Rupp Arena on a Tuesday night. I think
I don't
fans
think
are
that's going to
going to be in
stop
it.
anyone.
No, God, no, no. I think the fans are going to show out. You know what I mean? But like you were saying earlier, I do think that if they lose this game, fans are going to be up in arms about it.
Oh yeah, and that's just going to stir up a lot of stuff heading into the rest of December. I mean, this is a big one to kick it off. All these games are big games, the ranked opponents, but if you start the season off with a loss to another blue blood who isn't ranked much better than you, all I ask if they're going to lose is that it's not a display like it was against Michigan State because
Yeah,
that
just keep
was
it close, man. Just keep it
yeah.
close.
I mean, even Louisville, like they didn't play good at all. I mean, but
No.
they hung in there for as much as they could.
Yeah.
I'm not
And then
actually
they
not
had
as much as they could,
that
but
little comeback that they tried to
yeah,
pull together late. But it's the problem with this team is that you can't go down by 25 at halftime and then come back and expect to just, all right, it's 0-0. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it roots
You
from
have
the
to play
start.
it like you're down 25 because you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's no like, all right, it's a new half. It's a tale of two halves. You know, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna outplay them in the second half. And it's like you can try all you want, but you only have 20 minutes. And if 10 minutes in you're still down by 20, you're cooked, dude. You're
yeah,
probably done for.
yeah. And I think UK has like obviously we were talking about a lot of negatives of what ifs, what could happen if they lose, and if they don't get to this amount of wins against these amount of teams, but. UK honestly is a perfect opportunity to get
Yeah,
back on track. Let's look at
yeah,
it from that point of view. I mean,
absolutely. That's
they're in the
definitely the
dumps
better way
right
to look
now.
at it.
Yeah, they're in the dumps right now after two losses to two teams that were winnable. I mean, Louisville, you could throw a bone, rivalry. Actually,
Yeah,
rivalry game, I mean, in state, whatever, they still didn't show up. Not going to take
yeah,
anything away from that. Michigan State, whatever you want to call that, but they have a really good opportunity to get back on track, earn more, not that they need it, but earn more respect from the nation, earn more respect from college basketball fans, and earn more respect for themselves by actually showing up and playing meaningful basketball, looking like a team. And honestly, it sounds really silly to say this about a Division I basketball team like Kentucky, but ultimately just show up and seem like you have a will to win.
no, literally. Because it felt like in a few of the games, they didn't have that will to win. They came
Yeah.
out here and they just came out flat-footed. And it was like, what's the point of coming out against a top 25 opponent flat-footed? Because that's not going to make anybody happy. And,
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy when Pope hit us with the quote. It was, this team isn't runaway good. This team's not going to blow anybody out ever. And that's like obviously I'm sure really humbling to hear from your coach, but also
Who wants to
probably yeah, exactly. It probably lights a fire under your ass because you're now like, all right, well, let's go show them we can beat the heck out of teams and they're still good. You know what I mean? Like I think if they can kind of flip that switch in Pope's brain, because I think right now Pope is like yeah, this team's good, but they're not as mature as they were last season, and they're not going to be able to run away against any of these solid teams. But if you're the players, you need to at least show him one or the other is incorrect. Because if you can come out with maturity, take your losses well, play better afterwards, and prove it in the next ranked matchups, then he's going to change his mind. He's going to have more confidence. The fan base is going to have more confidence, and everyone's just going to be overall in a better mood, better vibe about the team.
Yeah, I mean, he is taking a very interesting approach by publicly outing his team. I
Yeah.
mean,
Honestly, I
which,
love it. I
yeah,
love it.
I was just going to get to that. A lot of people would not be happy with that because, coaches are very keep it all in. What happens in our locker room stays in our locker room. We work together behind the scenes. Very rare that you see a coach come out and do what Mark Pope has done and
Hmm.
publicly out his team and these certain amount of groups, like this starting lineup isn't where I want it to be. This whole team isn't where I want it to be, and talking about all the negatives and all that stuff. But it all stems back to the same thing, I think, and that's, Kentucky has a perfect opportunity to actually do something about this and give us something to talk about aside from the negatives. Like I don't want to
Yeah,
keep
literally.
getting on these podcasts and just, well, Kentucky didn't show up again. Kentucky
Yeah.
didn't look like a team again. And,
Yeah.
we could go that route with wins over Tennessee Tech and stuff like that, but there's no
But
point because
there's
there's no
no
reason.
point.
I don't
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree with you more because where we are at the point of the season, it felt like, you know, we'll rewind to before the opening game. This was like, this team's going to win the national championship. We're ranked number 9. This is a sign. We're going to go in, we're going to cruise through everybody in the schedule. This team's winning 28, 29 games, and then they go in and they lose that first game to Michigan State bad. Or sorry, Louisville bad. And everybody immediately was just like flip the switch. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
And so now, like you said, it's not fun coming on here and bashing this team every week. Like I
Yeah.
want to be like, oh wow, what a great showing, what a great performance. This is awesome. But we have yet to see a game against a worthy opponent where they've come out and proved themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I just thought of something funny. I mean, a lot of people are saying it, number 9 this season, and they're going to hang banner number 9. It right now, Kentucky's 5-2. They've played 7 games. If they drop these two, it may just take 9 games to go unranked, and that's a
No,
conversation that
yeah,
we don't even want to have, and we
no,
hopefully
sir.
won't be having. But the next time we have a podcast,
Yeah,
man, if they drop these 2 games, they're going to be unranked. I mean,
yeah.
they're what are they, 17 right now? 19 right now.
19. So I mean, you're
19.
6
So
spots out, man. Like
you're
you
on the
better,
edge, and
yeah.
you're unfortunately, and unfortunate as it is with all the hype, you know, shortly into the season, Kentucky's fighting for their
Oh
lives
yeah,
to stay ranked, which is blasphemy to me and
yeah.
something I wouldn't have expected. But, that's just the reality of it. And like I keep saying, Kentucky has a big opportunity. We'll take it game by game, but start off with against UNC. And we could talk about them a little bit. We already touched on them, 6-1. I mean, their best win was over. At the time, number 19, Kansas, they won 87-74, and Darren Peterson, the five-star for Kansas, had a really good game. But UNC was still able to come out on top. UNC started 25, worked their way down to number 16. Five-star Caleb Wilson had UK in his top three, and he's leading them with 19.9 points per game. So going down that, I mean, that's going to be a good test for the guards. And we've talked about that a
Yeah,
lot, and they keep getting tested, but a good test for the guards in a game that would actually, mean something on their resume.
totally. And this is the game where I would love to have J-Lo back
Yeah.
because this is a game where it's like not just for the depth, but like the defensive firepower from J-Lo to come out and at least maybe set the tone. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
need someone who's going to come out and just like slap two hands on the floor and be like, I don't care. Come at me. You know what I mean? Because it's the only way you're going to knock him off his hustle basically to start the game is to show him who's boss off the rip. And so they're going to need somebody to take on that role and I'm not 100% sure who's going to kind of slide into that spot yet, but I think it's going to be a great game. I do think the Cats will end up winning this one. I think it's just the stars kind of aligning for Kentucky right now, starting to be up and up and up, and obviously North Carolina bad loss the last game, so they're kind of on the down. So yeah, I mean I think the North Carolina game is going to be good, but that Gonzaga game I think will be even better because obviously Kentucky Gonzaga the last few years have been pretty fun games to watch, but having it in Nashville, neutral location, it's like next week's games are crucial to just about everything that has to do with where they're going to be ranked, how they're going to fight for the rest of the year, what coach is going to think about the team. So I do think these two games are like extremely pivotal for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, this whole month of December, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but those are just four of the games. UK also plays North Carolina Central and Bellarmine. Those are two games like Valparaiso, Nichols,
Yeah.
Tennessee Tech,
Good little
respectfully.
get back on track game if they do
Yeah.
drop one to North Carolina or Gonzaga.
Yeah. And these four games, and we keep saying it, I mean, it's different when conference play rolls around, but this could be, again, it's December, but you got January, February, and then you're in March. This could be a make or break with,
Yeah.
a lot of it's mental too. So if they drop, if they come out like, not looking the way that they should and they drop some of these games and like we said, the fan base will overreact. I mean, they're already seem to be rattled with how the fan base has
Yeah.
responded to, being 5-2 with those two bad losses. So if they don't show up in these games, I mean, the season my opinion, could be too early. I could come back to bite me. Just pack it up.
I don't think that's going to come back to bite you if it does happen because if you drop those two games and you start off, what would that be 0 and 4 against ranked
Yeah.
opponents? God, that would just be so brutal for the
Yeah.
morale of the team, for the way that the fan base is going to treat them, the way that the media is going to treat them. Like everybody will be like all over them if they drop both of these games. I don't think they will though. Say I really don't think they're going to drop both. Obviously a really solid chance that they lose one of the next two, but I think there's just as equal as a chance that they win both of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we round it out, I mean, let's not do a individual score prediction. Let's do
Yeah.
something a little different. And these four ranked games they got in December, not what would you be happy with, what you'd be upset with. Give me your honest take on Kentucky's record for these four ranked games this month.
Give me it's tough, but I think I'm gonna go 2-2, man.
2-2.
I want to go
Yeah.
3-1, but I really do think they're gonna drop two of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go 2-2 as well. I could see 3-1, and the one that they lose to be St. John's in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
but that's
Um,
just I think strictly a coach battle right there, man. And
yeah, it's a coaching battle, it's a media battle, it's
yeah,
a
it's a
glamorous battle
it's a
between.
carousel right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Yeah,
think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 3-1. I'm just gonna go
I'm praying you're right.
UNC win, Gonzaga win, Indiana win, and then drop it to St. John's in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that, St. John's, like we were talking about the glitz and the glam about, Patino versus Pope, but Pope could wilt in that situation. He always
yeah,
talks about how he
totally.
gets, a lot of, ideas and mentorship and all that stuff from Coach Patino, who's his coach, 1996 when Pope was the captain of the UK's team, for those who didn't know. So this is just going to be a massive game in the eyes of the media and
Hmm.
just the eyes of the players, and they know what it takes. But it's just a matter of if they actually act on, how they know what they need to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And honestly, I don't think there's really a whole lot more to touch on besides just watching and praying and seeing if they're able to come out with a win, man.
Yeah. So the next time we come back to you guys, I think we have about 3 or 4 weeks at school before we come home for like winter break. So we'll be back in our normal studio. We won't be
Hmm.
doing another Zoom call. And like we said after the Louisville game, hopefully, we have something fun to talk about and win over a rival. We didn't, but here,
Yeah,
hopefully, we could have some two solid wins over UNC. And I think actually, no, UNC would be one game. We'd talk about that, and then they'd be in
yeah,
the game against Gonzaga. So.
yeah.
We'll leave it at that, though. We hope that we could have a fun, exciting conversation after the UNC
We'll
game.
see. We'll see.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you follow the Field of 68 on all socials. Keep coming back for more content. We love talking to you guys.